the future driver for Arrow McLaren's IndyCar team, Kyle Larson. Kyle, thank you for being here today. Also joining us to his left, our right, Jeff Gordon, who kind of knows his place around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, now the vice chairman of Hendrick Motorsports, and to the left, Gavin, the racing director at Arrow McLaren. Kyle, we'll go ahead and start with you, and certainly you're no stranger to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, or Central Indiana for that matter, but how excited are you that a year from now you'll be going for your first Indianapolis 500, qualifying first?
Yeah,
right?
yeah, no, it's obviously very exciting. It's been something that I've wanted to do for a very long time. Just I wanted to be patient and kind of wait for the timing to feel right, and it feels right. Having Hendrick Motorsports be extremely supportive of it, and supporting the efforts with Arrow McLaren is something that I'm extremely excited about to have Rick and Jeff Gordon involved in. Jeff had kind of told me that I get to live out a dream of his, so that's really special also to me. So I've obviously come here a lot in a stock car. I lived in the area for a couple of years, so this place for a long time felt like home, or a second home to me. So and in my opinion, this is the biggest race in the world, so you want to be a part of the big ones, and hopefully someday you'll be a winner of a big event. So look forward to it. Happy to be here today. I look forward to kind of taking in as much knowledge as I possibly can in a single day, and just trying to better prepare myself whenever I get behind the wheel.
Jeff, Kyle alluded to it. Perhaps no one's more excited about this opportunity than yourself to check things out firsthand and get this sort of perspective on everything. What do you hope to get out of today?
Yeah, well, first of all, we are excited to be here and be a part of this. It's it's been a lot of fun working with Arrow McLaren and Zach Brown, Gavin, and his whole team to pull this off. I'm kind of glad that Kyle said, hey, this is something I'd really like to do one day. You think this is something that Mr. Hendrick and maybe Hendrick Cars would want to support, and we're happy that that's all going to come true in 2024. And I think for today, it's such a different world, right? This car, and I think as a driver, driving a race car is sort of natural of what you need to go fast and to compete, but you're talking about Indianapolis at 230 plus miles per hour, and what it takes to get comfortable, what kind of language there is for a driver of the types of things that they're talking about versus a stock car or a sprint car. So for us, I think on the Hendrick Motorsports side, it's just building this relationship with Arrow McLaren so that next year that we can do everything we can to maximize its full potential, get Kyle everything he needs, get Arrow McLaren everything that they need, to make sure that this effort goes as smooth as possible and gives them the best opportunity to get a great result.
One more for Gavin before we open it up for questions. And Gavin, just your thoughts. Kyle's widely known as a guy that can drive anything on four wheels, so you have an opportunity to kind of mold that here for what we all think is the greatest race in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what better fit for a team like McLaren that's taken to racing in a lot of different forms, to have a driver like Kyle who's shown such versatility, and I think just for the team to build this relationship with Hendrick Motorsports and Hendrick Cars is great. I think one of the best racing teams in the world. So racing organizations, big organizations in the world. So fun to kind of get that together. And yeah, having this little bit of time and extra runway to try and introduce the world of Indianapolis Motor Speedway racing with Indy cars to Kyle. Get ahead of it here and show him a bit how we work and what's involved, I think is a great opportunity.
We appreciate everybody on Zoom. If you have a question on Zoom, hit the virtual raised hand button, and we'll try to take as many as we can here in the remaining moments that we have. We'll begin, though, questions in person. Bruce Martin, go ahead, Bruce.
Kyle, in many ways, there's been a lot of people in the area like Chris Paulson and people who've been trying to help promote this for a long time. Do you feel like this has really been 10 years in the making?
For me to run this event?
Yes.
I don't know. Maybe a little bit. I think, when I was with Chip Ganassi Racing in the NASCAR stuff, I think a lot of people and maybe my myself at times, thought that I would go immediately, try and compete in the Indy 500 for a chip, but I wasn't as accomplished yet in the NASCAR stuff, and I wanted to be able to not feel like I was taking a ton away from that stuff. So now we've been able to accomplish a lot in the NASCAR stuff. Hendrick is obviously always a consistent front runner. So I felt like you could take a little bit of focus away from that to run the Indy 500, because it's, I don't want to just do this to do it. Like, I want to do it and take it serious and feel like I'm prepared enough to win. So I feel like I'm surrounded by great people and looking forward for the opportunity. And I've got 300 and some odd days left to try and get ready.
And this is for Mr. Brickyard, Jeff Gordon. Now, you're a legend of the Speedway already, but it was in the Brickyard 400. You drove the Indy 500 pace car one year. Your friend Jimmy Johnson competed in the Indianapolis 500 last year. Kyle's going to get to run next year. How much of you really miss the fact that you didn't get a chance to run here in this race?
Yeah, I mean, like Kyle said, it's true. I did say that to him, that he's going to be able to live out a dream of mine. I mean, I go back to the mid to late 80s when I was living here in Indiana and raced all around here. And every race car driver's dream, if you're racing around Indianapolis, is to get here and to compete at this facility. And I watched guys like Rich Vogler and a few other competitors that I raced with come over here and do that. And certainly it was on my radar, but NASCAR came calling. So once that happened, I kind of shifted my focus to that. And I don't know if really the right opportunity or it ever became serious enough after that to become a reality. And so to me, this is equally as exciting because, one, I sure as heck right now don't want to drive into turn 1 at 238 miles or whatever they're running. But Kyle does, and Kyle's capable of it. And the fact that Rick has never been to the Indianapolis 500, and we're going to go to Le Mans this year, and next year he's going to come to the Indianapolis 500. That's extremely exciting for our organization, as well as the things that we can learn from Arrow McLaren and what they do here to compete for this event. I think there's crossover that we can learn from one another. So super excited and excited for Kyle, as well as he has the ability. When he has the equipment and the resources, the people surrounding him, he has the ability to go do extraordinary things, and we've seen him do it in other cars. And I have no doubt, that he'll be able to do that in this, the Indy 500 next year as well.
Eric.
Yeah, Jeff, you kind of mentioned Le Mans. Rick's not been here. Do you foresee Hendrick Motorsports 5-10 years down the road, maybe being an NTT IndyCar Series team, a partner, anything down the road for the line?
Well, I know what Rick's answer would be if he was sitting here. It would be an absolute no. But he loves racing, he loves cars, and when he comes here next year, he might change his mind a little bit. But I would, NASCAR is always going to be our primary focus, and where our history and our legacy lies. But I will say that if you want to run a good business, you have to diversify yourself. We've seen ourselves get into GM Defense, manufacturing. We're seeing ourselves go to Le Mans. We've dabbled a little bit in IMSA, and we have a great relationship with Chevrolet and our friends at GM. So, if there's something that makes sense for us as a company and as Hendrick Motorsports, then we're certainly going to look at it and look at whether or not it makes sense for us or not.
And obviously we're talking next year, but was there any hesitation after what happened with Alex and Chase that maybe we need to pause this thing? Or how much has the philosophy changed behind the scenes at Hendrick Motorsports to let Kyle and the drivers race outside of NASCAR?
I think our approach is that we want to support these guys and things that they want to take on. With Kyle, we've had this conversation a lot. He feels like that type of racing actually helps him get prepared and be sharp on Sunday in the Cup car, and I think we've actually seen the results of that. But they've got to make good, smart decisions, be in good equipment, not take too much risk, when they're involved in that, whether it's racing or other things. And so I can tell you, I did a lot of extracurricular activity, even if it wasn't in other race cars, throughout my entire career, and see the benefits of it. So we're going to support our guys to do the same, and we're just going to encourage them to really weigh out the risk versus the reward, and make sure that they're in the best equipment with the best team and the best opportunity to go out there and make the experience a good one. And that's the way we look at this.
Right, Jeff.
Can you walk us through the preparation you've actually been able to do so far? I know it's not ideal that you can't actually get out on track yet, but the stuff you've been able to do off track, can you walk us through kind of what you've been able to do so far?
I mean, honestly, not a ton. I went to their race shop a couple weeks ago to get the first initial kind of seat insert form to me, and still have to finish that whole process. But they gave me a big packet of stuff to look at, notes and dash displays, and emailed me some onboard footage. So I watched all of that, and kind of got a sense of just nice to see the onboard and see shifting and adjusting all the cockpit adjustable things that they have, and just seeing how the flow of the race kind of goes, and how they position themselves behind people in traffic, stuff like that, restart procedures, all of that, pit stops, pulling into your pit sign and all of that. So but as far, I don't want to I don't know what I'm testing yet, so I don't want to pick people's brains yet, other drivers' brains too early on, and then have to go to them in a few months and ask the same questions over again. So I kind of want to wait a little bit to pick their brains some. I definitely want to talk to guys who are familiar with stock cars and Indy cars. Jimmy, Kurt, guys who've done this more recently. But again, I don't want to do it too early yet and get on their nerves when I go to ask them again later on.
Gavin, is there any chance that you might waste the test, well not waste, but use the test day to get Kyle out before the open test next year, or is the plan currently just to wait until then before he's on the track?
Yeah, we're looking at all options really to get as much track testing or readiness, and so we're evaluating all that. But yeah, we're keen, and also simulator running as well.
How much do you think Kyle can learn from the simulator running?
I think it's more about probably some of the basic stuff, just get familiarized with the steering wheel and the adjustments in the cockpit and all that sort of stuff, and it gives you a little bit of a heads up on some seat fit work. But realistically, you gotta run these things. You gotta run the traffic. That's what everyone's doing out here, and that's the most important side of it. But I do think the program we're running with Tony Kanaan this year and his involvement with the team it sets us up in a good way, to help. And then Tony and Kyle have raced together before, so that's a good relationship, and he's already kind of, I think, a good reference here to try and help Kyle learn the ropes here.
Kyle, of course, you've driven a lot of multiple disciplines out there. Of course, it's a year from now, and then you have the 500, of course, the 600. What kind of preparations you have to go into that might be different than what you've done in the past, going across the country, running dirts and stock cars, etc.?
Yeah, I would say everything that I race is much more simple than an Indy car. So the only kind of thing I feel like that I have to judge off of that was new to me and not overwhelming, but just stressful was when I did the Rolex for the few years that we did. Obviously they're different cars, but a lot more, just a total different kind of foreign style racing to me, which I feel like Indy car stuff would be a little bit that way, with just race procedure stuff. The cockpits are way more in depth than what I'm used to in anything that I race. In a stock car, I'm worried about turning on brake fans, and if I don't, it's really not a big deal. A sprint car, I've got a wing valve. A late model, nothing. A midget's nothing. Where in an Indy car, you got, I don't even know. He'd probably tell me everything, but boost and weight jackers and bars and just all sorts of stuff that I want to be ready for and know when they tell me to do this or do that, I can be quick to it and not hesitate and give up something that might be crucial for the end of the race. So as far as the driving part of it, I think hopefully that all will come naturally. I don't really know. I don't have any experience yet to even have an opinion on what it could relate to, or if it is totally, just different than anything I've been in. So I feel like our NASCAR racing has trended a little bit closer to IndyCar style of strategy, with fuel savings and stuff like that. So I think I have more experience now than I would have had 3 years ago on that side of things. But there's gonna be a lot to soak in over the next year, and I look forward to the challenge. I love racing new vehicles to challenge myself and learn something new, and I feel like ultimately it makes me a better race car driver. So I think no matter the result throughout this whole experience, I think I'm going to become a better race car driver from it, so I'm excited about all that.
We've got a limited amount of time, so let's go just a couple more. Wolfgang, then we'll go Jenna, and then Nathan. Go ahead, Wolfgang.
Only two. Kyle,
There's a little bit of time, so I don't want to.
Kyle, when you're doing the 500 next year, does it mean you do at the same time the Charlotte race as well?
The what?
Charlotte race.
Both, yeah.
The NASCAR race in Charlotte.
Yep.
That means you
Yeah, it'll
travel.
be crazy. Uh-huh.
Okay. And one question for Gavin: how much simulator preparation you will prepare for Kyle to get used to Indy?
I think we'll start simple, and then we'll see how useful we think it is, and go from there. I mean, the good news is the simulator we use is around the corner from work down by Hendrick. So from a logistics point of view, it's pretty convenient.
Let's go Jenna. If you don't mind, Jenna, come up to the mic. Nathan, stand by. We'll try to work in as many as we can here before they got to go.
Hey guys, Gavin, my question's actually for you. A lot of pressure. People are very excited about Kyle Larson. You've got a year to prepare for him, but what does it mean to have this responsibility to have Kyle Larson in the team?
Yeah, I mean, I think of it as a privilege. Honestly, I mean, actually early on in the conversations about this is a possibility, and really just the concept of running an extra car, regularly at the 500 is like, well, if you gave me a Kyle Larson to put in it, I definitely want to do it. It was kind of my answer. So then little I know that was that was even a possibility. So yeah,
But you were just joking?
Yeah, just
Yeah.
joking. Yeah, and
When Zach's like, "Let's do it."
We'll find a way to make it happen if you can do that. And then lo and behold. But as I said, I think we're kind of proving the model here with Tony and getting that crew, which has a lot of that crew is existing. So there's a bit of a mix there, but we get to prove that sort of model of the extra car. And having this extra time to get ahead of it is a real advantage, I think. We have to be realistic about what you can really achieve. But I feel pretty good about it.
Thank you.
Nathan?
Kyle, I know your schedule racing is always so packed, whether it's NASCAR or stuff in dirt or other things. You're racing so often, and I wonder with this program where you've known a year and a half in advance that you're doing all this preparation for one single race, how is this different from a preparation standpoint and having so much lead time for one single race than what you typically do in your racing career?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I feel like I prepare well for every event that's leading up, but usually it's, I've got a couple days to prepare before it. So, yeah, I think having this much time, knowing that I'm racing next year, I'm definitely going to pay more attention to all of these days than I would have in the past. Kind of see how that all goes, just to be really just more prepared for how the couple weeks of on-track time goes for next year. I think not just to not be surprised by anything. It's been nice even being here in the short amount of time we've been here today, is just see how they have everything laid out in the hospitality where the team hangs out or eats, and the engineering room, stuff like that. I didn't know any of that before I got here today. So, and this is the only day I'm going to be able to come this year. So, even just getting to get eyes on all that, I think will help little things like that for next year. So, and then I mean, they just paying just closer attention to everything than I would have in the past. Me just being a fan in other years, you might just overlook things. You're probably just looking at the quality of racing and stuff like that, where now I'll be more in depth in watching the race, watching what they do in practices, and then being able to listen to the communication today is awesome as well. So I don't know, I think there's going to be a lot of stuff that comes up too that throughout the next year that's going to help prepare me. Thanks.
All right, we have time for 2 more. Go ahead, sir.
Jared Haas with Frontstretch.com. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Also, check one of those 2 videos out that we have right beside you. Visit Frontstretch.com for more great content.